Today is March 25th, 2009, and we're here at Northbridge High School. We are interviewing Mr. Edward Maloney. Good afternoon, Mr. Maloney.
Good afternoon to you.
That is taking place here at Northbridge High School, and part of the Veterans History Project. With that, Lauren, why don't you lead off?
I installed and serviced jute boxes and collected them. And this particular day, a friend lived on the same street, Dick Greenouch was his name. He used to come with me. When I needed help, I'd have him because he didn't have a job. But this day, we started in Fall River and did Seconded Point, Newport through, finished in Warren. And he said to me, why don't we stop in Providence on the way home and join the Navy? That's how we joined. He said Tom McGann's in the recruiting station in Providence, so we know someone there. So we went in, we signed up, we joined, we back, took a physical, and he got a notice to go the next day. That was some days later. And I was in bed when I heard pebbles on the window making noises. I opened the window, looked out. It was Dick. He's yelling, "Did you get your papers?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, I'm going tomorrow." Oh, I said, "That's too bad." He left. He come back about 2 hours later. He said, "I got Tom McGann out of bed, and he got your papers ready. You're coming with me in the morning." So that's how we went. No, I was 20 years old. The draft age then was 21. I wouldn't have been eligible for another year to be drafted. I had a brother in the Navy at the time. I also had a brother in the Army. They were in before the war. One went in 37, the other one in 39. They were regulars.
Okay.
Well, we were fighting to beat the Germans, really. Hitler was the problem.
Okay. And what did you know about Hitler and about the Germans? What were you told?
We were never told anything other than you knew yourself from what you read in the papers. Well, we were the first company. It normally was 90 days training. Well, we got 3 weeks. They needed us a lot. So 3 weeks training. Well, we had to show up at the recruiting station in Providence. And there was a number of others there. Matter of fact, we wound up, there was a bus load, and we were taken to Newport, to the training station, and we were put into what was then named Barracks B. There were 4 companies. There were 105 men to each company. So it was 105 men in each room.
Wow.
And there was just 4 rooms for the building.
Wow.
There were halls, more or less, but it was just one bunk after another. They weren't double-deck, they were singles on the floor.
Okay.
Oh, I can remember our company commander, he was a boatswain mate. I remember him, I forget it. Hughes, come to think of it, his name was Hughes. After that, we went to, we boarded a train in Providence, and we went to Cape Charles, Virginia, where we got off and got on to a ferry that took us to Little Creek, Virginia. Little Creek, Virginia was the training base. It was 3 barracks, a mess hall, and an administration building. That was, well, then we had 30-day leave, we went back. Oh no, we're already in Little Creek. It was signed, that was the beginning of the amphibious forces.
Oh, wow.
That was an amphibious training base.
Okay.
I was signed to an LCT.
What is that? An OC.
landing craft tank.
And what was your job with the LCT?
Well, I didn't have anything. I was just there to, I felt, to wait out the war. So, but I was sent to gunnery school to learn the 20 millimeter. But I didn't have any plans. But I became the gunner's mate because the gunner's mate we had in the first air raid shot the top off the wheelhouse. You gotta be the gunner. That's how I became the gunner's mate. We left Bayonne, New Jersey. We went aboard an LST. On the deck of the LST was our LCT. On the deck of the LCT was an LCM. We left there and we stopped at Bermuda. Some of the convoy was already there. That's where we formed the convoy. It was all LSTs. Some were there, some would yet arrive. So once they all arrived, we left Bermuda. 33 days later, we arrived at Gibraltar.
Wow.
We took the southern route because we didn't have any protection. All we had was patrol craft with us. And these were landing craft, they weren't battleships.
Right.
But we took the southern route, and we only traveled about five knots, which would be less than 6 miles an hour. We had some of the crew members never stepped off that LCT until Normandy, once they were on it. Never stepped off it. We were in different places that would be interesting and everything, but I'd say there was 4 of them that never stepped off of that all the time, from the time we got on at Nauvoo.
Wow.
They didn't step off it until Normandy. After Gibraltar, we went to Azul, where we were launched off the LST.
Okay.
But they did fill the ballast, allow the LST to tip 45 degrees, and we slid off because we were on wax skids.
Wow.
That's all. Saw was in our zoo.
Okay.
Once we were all unloaded, we had everything set up. One night, some planes come over and started dropping bombs on us. So we started shooting back. All the LCTs were shooting, the LSTs were shooting, and it seemed we never stopped firing once it had settled. The biggest fireworks display you ever saw. Well, as it turned out, what happened was, that was just a number of German airplanes that were returning from a raid they had somewhere else in Africa, and they just unloaded their bombs on Azul rather than take them back home.
Okay.
And we were told, not to be so excited about firing the guns. We spent millions of dollars on. But we were all scared the first night. I was scared. I was on the gun crew. I got so excited. I was supposed to change the barrel on the gun because it overheat. We were firing so much, and I forgot to put the asbestos gloves on. I grabbed the barrel. I grabbed both hands.
Wow.
But anyway, we survived that. Went on from there. Happy. It wasn't an unhappy time in my life.
No. A lot going on, right?
And I was never bored. Did your laundry when you were underway? You tie it a rope, throw it overboard, and take it in the morning. I have one picture. It was taken with an army. He might have been a major or a captain, and with Henry Crandall Murphy and Sam Moore, but the 4 of us are sitting together with our helmets on and everything. Apparently it was taken in England.
Family?
Well, you had email. Of course, no one knew where you were in this country. No one had there was no communication. your mail was censored, and then it was photographed, and it was sent by cable somehow or other. I don't know what they had in those days, but you couldn't tell where you were. You couldn't tell anything that was going on. No one had any idea where you were when you left. You could be in the Pacific, or no one knew. You didn't get mail very often. Mail would have trouble catching up with you. When you did, you got a bag full. What did I eat? Well, everything was out of a can. Everything was canned. We had a cook on the stove, but we didn't have refrigeration or anything. Oh, that was another thing we did. We took Patton ashore in Sicily. In Sicily, it was about 5 or 6 days after the landing. What happened was some German Tiger tanks come into Gila, and Patton and his staff evacuated. And so we were signaled to come alongside the transport, and they passed down a loin of pork to us. We wondered, what for? And they're passing down food. And, well, anyway, we were returning Patton back to Gila. The food wasn't for us.
It wasn't for you?
Well, I was in the invasion of Sicily, invasion of Italy also, and Omaha Beach at Normandy D-Day. The one in Italy wasn't easy, but it wasn't a disaster
like Normandy?
Yeah. Well, what happened, I'll tell you
Please.
What happened to us with Normandy. We were in England, and we were in Portland, England, and we were loaded with our troops for some time, maybe a couple of weeks, and we're waiting for the day. We knew it was coming soon, and it was an air raid that night, and they dropped mines, time delay bombs too, and one went just missed us and went right down, and I mean, we knew it was there, but the next day we decided to move. Well, as soon as we started the engine, the thing come up and it blew us out of the water.
Wow.
So now we're not going. We didn't sink because these things were made out of cubes.
Really?
You could put a lot of holes in them, but so we knew we weren't going to make it. But it turned out they got us out the 3rd of June. The 4th, we left the 4th. The landing was supposed to be the 5th. We left the 4th. We were over. Weather was terrible, but we were so slow. We were off the coast of France. We were looking in at Omaha Beach, and it was canceled. So we went back to England. We got to Portland, and then we were just back in time to start and go again. Because we went ahead of everything else because we were so slow.
Right.
So we had to be there and wait for the others, like the LCVPs came with the large transports. They went in first.
Yes.
The LCTs didn't go in first. Normally we were 10 with one officer, 11. But then for invasions, they put another officer on, put a radio man, and a medic. But we didn't get a medic at Normandy, but the other ones we did.
Okay.
D-Day. We're there waiting, and we have orders. We're not to go in. It came time for us to go in. We had orders not to go in. So we're circling, and it was kind of a funny thing. An LCV pulled alongside of us, loaded with infantrymen all standing, and I couldn't count how many of that. They were about 33 feet long, the LCVPs. But the coxswain running the boat, and he said, "Are you guys going in?" Someone answered, "Yes." He said, "You want to take these guys?"
Oh, no.
Well, anyway, we went in, we were the only one to go in at the time, and I didn't know why, that there was, the Army officers were having they wanted to get off. One thing, the Army didn't like being on the water at all, and they'd rather be on land. They didn't care what was there than be on the water. So finally, we weren't supposed to go. It was against orders they did it, but we went in, we landed. And we unloaded the vehicles and the men. They couldn't go anywhere. See, we went in, at this particular time, all these obstacles you see in the war, the pictures of, now it's now 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're under the water.
Okay.
So we went in over them.
Oh.
We went in over them, we landed, we unloaded everybody, and I was up on the bow. I had just stepped off to see if everything was all right, and an Army lieutenant come up to me and said, you got a gun there. There could be a big help here. He said, we're getting murdered. He said, well, no one's going to get out of here. And he pointed all the machine gun emplacement, machine gun nests they were.
Yes.
They were on the beach. And they weren't far, maybe over to that door from where I was. And he said, they killed everybody. Well, I went back, I told the skipper the story, and he said, well, if we do a firing, we'll bring we'll be the main target on the beach. And I went back, and I told the lieutenant, gee, the look on his face, I couldn't believe it. So I said, oh, what the hell? I went back, and I loaded the thing, and I started firing. I many magazines. The first magazine, I emptied all of it, and then Mooberry, who was a good friend of mine, come out of the wheelhouse, and he started loading for me out of the second thing. Well, the ammunition drum blew up, and that was the end of me there. Next thing I knew, I was on the beach. No shoes. I never knew what happened to my shoes. I was in my stocking feet. Years later, I found out that I got blown overboard. I was in the water, and Mooberry was the one that pulled me out. So then we were on the beach. There was no way to get off, and there was nowhere to go. And we were what they called slapped in sand. They were tank traps, all rocks the same size, round. So the treadmill was just
no traction, right?
No traction.
No traction.
If Normandy turned out to be a disaster, it would have meant a lot to Germany. It would have hurt us because we had a lot invested in Normandy. Really, if it wasn't for England, he would have done it. So we were there with the soldiers, and the tide started to go out. The bodies were washing back and forth with the tide in and getting stuck in those obstacles. And it was double twilight time over there then, twilight savings. And so really it was still bright at 10 o'clock at night. And LCI 22 come in. It unloaded their troops. And they came and they took me away. They took the wounded. Mm-hmm. Put us on a transport. The name of it was the Thurston. I wound up in England in an army hospital in Bristol, England. I really don't know how long I was there, whether it was a month or more than a month maybe. I was there quite a while. And then when I got discharged, went looking for where my people were. Mm-hmm. And they were at a survivors camp in Fowey, England. That was the only thing to be famous for was Daphne du Maurier lived there. if you recall, she wrote
Oh,
Frenchman's
yes,
Creek. That was
yes.
actually,
Okay.
Frenchman's Creek was Fowey.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
So the famous
But-
author.
But before that, at the time in England, Cornwall was a great place to be. Dartmouth, Falmouth, and especially Torquay.
Really?
Beautiful town.
Really?
Oh, enjoyed ourselves there.
Yeah.
A nice hotel, sit down in the bar, have a
Sure.
drink.
There you go.
Yeah.
How were they, the people toward you?
Oh, very nice.
Were they?
Very wonderful. I got friendly with the family over there. I stay overnight with them.
Did you?
Yeah,
Wow.
and very nice.
Hmm.
I still remember West Newton Road.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Wow.
One thing, a little local part of the story was when we were at Lido Beach Hotel in Long Island, New York. We used to come home every week and room in the, and there was four of us that used to come together. One was John Malachuk
Okay.
from Sutton. The other one was John Mello from North Providence. Ralph Morissette from Laconia, New Hampshire. It was a wonderful time in my life. You know, people were so good to service people. And you got discounts and everything. Like in New York, we saw all the free tickets. It's just the country was together. You know, if the country was always like it was during World War II, it would be a great place to be. While we
You're
were
right.
in Africa, we left our zoo and we were outside of Tenez, and we were headed up the coast when the first LCT hit a mine, or it couldn't have been a torpedo because it would have went under, but they hit a mine, and four of them that were up on the bow got blown overboard. There was only one. They found one body. We searched and searched for the other three, but that was my three friends.
Really?
That we used to come home to Providence with.
Wow. Only one survived.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we also, of course, at Normandy, they put a shell through us, right through the engine room out the bottom. Another good friend, John Anderson, had gone down and changed sand traps, so that was the end of him.
Wow. Vividly today?
Yeah, I never forgot them.
You never forgot
Never
them?
forgot them.
That's
Mater Chuck, the post is named after him
Oh, wow.
in Manchor.
Okay.
John Murrow, there's a square in North Providence named after John Murrow. And there's a Legion post, I think, in Laconia named after Morissette. Yeah. Well, we got a presidential citation.
You did?
The LCD.
The unit? Okay.
I got Silver Star.
And what is the Silver Star awarded for?
For Normandy. And the French Charles de Gaulle, I got the Croix de Guerre from de Gaulle. Oh, a funny thing is, a war story. When the day the war started, I was in Laconia, New Hampshire, and I was in the movies watching Citizen Kane.
Okay.
When the lights come on, the manager come out and announced Pearl Harbor had been bombed. Everybody left the theater. Now, it's a little color. When the war ended in Europe, I was in Radio City Hall, Music Hall, watching the Rockettes with the same girl. The lights come on, the numbers come out, the war ended in Europe. That emptied out. Everybody poured out to Times Square.
Wow.
Now, then, the Japanese surrendered. We were in the Roxy Theater watching the Rockettes in New York.
Okay.
Same girl.
Same thing.
Same girl.
Same thing.
My
Wow.
wife. The war ended, and having the Silver Star, I was at an ammunition depot in Lake Denmark, which is near Dover, New Jersey.
Okay.
And everybody there was limited duty. I was the only one that had any outside service. and I was a first-class gunner's mate, so I was the highest-ranking enlisted man on the base, and there was only one officer there, and the war ended now. We're going to get, we're getting married in September 15th, and the war ended. It ruined all the plans we had because I was getting subsistence, which was $3.05 a day to live off the base. My pay was $114 a month. Her pay was $96, and she would have got the subsistence. So we were going to get married, get an apartment in New York. She was working in the recruiting station on Madison Avenue. So that spoiled all our plans.
The war ended too soon.
Too soon.
Right?
I worked the day before I went in. I worked the day after I got home. So, you know, I wasn't affected by the war by any means.
Wow.
I got on with my life.
Sure, right?
Yeah.
So that is
I was offered a job to stay there, civil service. I come home and they say, oh no, come home, you have a job here and everything. And so I didn't take the job there, but I often wondered if I took it, how would things turn out?
Sure.
Yeah. My wife and I took a few trips. My wife liked motor trips, so one of the trips, we visited Mike Powers in Montana. He lived in Hardin when he went in the service. This is another story, but anyway, we did see Mike and his wife, and we were quite impressed with both of them. But he was dying.
Oh. Oh.
That was about 1988 or 89, somewhere around then. Everybody, World War II veterans, my friends didn't tell me what they did. I didn't know. Some of them, a lot of things happened. When you died, you read your obituary, you're amazed to find out where they've been, what they did. September 10th, 42. Discharged August 29th, 45. I was gunner's mate first class. That's petty officer first class. GM 1C.